What happens when the political table that was supposed to unite the country starts to fall apart right in front of everyone's eyes? That's exactly where we are with South Africa's National Dialogue, an ambitious attempt to gather political parties, civil society, and community voices into one room to solve the country's most urgent problems. Instead of building bridges, those bridges are now cracking, and the fallout is becoming too loud for anyone to ignore. Reports from multiple sources confirm that frustration has reached boiling point, with some key players walking away from the process entirely. They say the talks are being rushed, controlled from the top, and lacking genuine inclusion of the voices that matter most, the people on the ground. This is the context in which Fikile Mbalula, ANC Secretary-General, has decided to act. Known for his bold statements and fast political footwork, Mbalula has now shifted from public soundbites to crisis management mode. Sources close to the ANC say he's been calling provincial leaders into emergency meetings, a clear sign that the situation has become more than just an internal squabble in Pretoria. He knows that if the provinces don't buy in, the entire dialogue collapses, and the ANC will carry the blame. For a party already under intense public scrutiny, that's not an option they can afford. The collapse of the dialogue isn't just about bruised egos or failed logistics. It's a political earthquake in slow motion. The whole point of the dialogue was to create a national consensus on issues like unemployment, spiraling crime, corruption, and economic inequality. These are not abstract policy points, they are daily realities for millions of South Africans. When civil society organizations, trade unions, and even smaller political parties start walking away from that table, they're effectively saying, this process isn't real, and we won't be part of it. That's the type of statement that can derail public confidence in the entire political establishment. Mbalula's emergency outreach to provinces is his attempt to re-anchor the process. By bringing in provincial premiers, ANC provincial secretaries, and local structures, he's trying to remind everyone that the dialogue has implications far beyond the capital. Provinces control service delivery pipelines, manage local economies, and have the closest connection to voters. If they feel excluded or sidelined, the political cost is massive. But here's the thing, simply calling people into a room won't fix the trust gap that has already opened up. Critics of the ANC say this is exactly the problem. The dialogue was launched with big speeches and media fanfare, but behind the scenes, it quickly turned into a centralized, top-down operation where the agenda was set by a handful of political insiders. The rest were expected to simply show up and agree. In that kind of environment, it's no surprise that some groups are saying enough and walking away. And let's be honest, emergency meetings can sometimes be less about solving problems and more about containing political damage. There's also the optics problem. Mbalula's sudden urgency makes it look like the ANC is reacting, not leading. If the provinces are only being engaged seriously after the dialogue starts crumbling, the question becomes, why weren't they brought in with this level of importance from the start? Provincial leaders, especially in opposition-run regions, will be asking themselves whether these meetings are about genuine collaboration or simply rallying them to defend the ANC's image. For Mbalula, this is a political tightrope. On one hand, he needs to project control and confidence, showing that the ANC can handle crises without losing the plot. On the other hand, he has to convince skeptics that this isn't just another case of Luthuli House dictating terms. That balance is tricky, especially in a political environment where distrust runs deep and patience with the ANC is wearing thin. Beyond the immediate political drama, there's a bigger question: what happens if the dialogue fails completely? The government will lose a key platform to show it is serious about tackling the country's problems in a unified way. Opposition parties will seize on the collapse as proof that the ANC cannot lead in a coalition or consensus-driven environment. Civil society will grow even more cynical about engaging with formal political processes. And ordinary citizens will feel yet again that politics is a distant game played for elite benefit, not for their lives. That's why the stakes for these emergency provincial meetings are so high. If Mbalula can turn them into real problem-solving spaces where provinces shape the way forward, he might just breathe new life into the dialogue. But if these gatherings are seen as nothing more than damage control, the political blowback will be swift and unforgiving. Opposition leaders will frame it as another ANC scramble to save face, and the headlines will follow that narrative. In moments like this, leadership isn't about defending the brand, it's about proving that the process matters more than the politics. Mbalula's challenge is to move beyond speeches and into action that rebuilds trust. That means putting every province, every civil society voice, and every stakeholder on equal footing in shaping the dialogue's future. It also means admitting where things have gone wrong and being willing to reset the approach entirely. History has shown that when South Africa's political leadership listens, truly listens, to voices beyond the party gate, solutions become more grounded and more accepted. But when leadership becomes a defensive exercise, closing ranks and controlling the narrative, it only deepens the gap between politicians and the people they claim to serve. Mbalula has a rare chance here. The question is whether he sees it as an opportunity or just another problem to manage until the next headline comes along. What do you think? Are these emergency provincial meetings a sign that the ANC is ready to fix the dialogue, or is this just political theatre to buy time? Will Mbalula rise to the occasion, or will the collapse of the national dialogue become another mark against the ruling party's credibility? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Truth Untold for more unfiltered political analysis. Like this video, share it with others, and let's keep the conversation alive, because in the end, the people's voice is the only dialogue that truly matters.